right, champions. So Blake, let's count it down. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! What's up, champions? Coach Rael here with Getting Real with Rael, and I have an amazing guest today. You're in for a real treat. I have Blake Kraft from Frontapp. Whoa, what is Frontapp? You're about to find out. This was the missing link for me. Truly, guys, I'm so fun. We actually have matching shirts on,
We did not plan this. We did not plan it.
We didn't plan it, but like I feel like a superhero, and that's how I feel with this app. It truly has made such a huge difference for me, and so I'm excited. You know me. I only talk about stuff that I either use or makes a big difference in my life, and this is truly, at this point in my journey, huge. So without further ado, I want to bring on Blake. We didn't meet. I was at Traffic Conversion Summit, which is a big summit for most of us. And there was a champion on stage, and he mentioned this thing called Frontapp. And I was like, wow, I got to check it out. And when I checked it out, I said, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. Because it's like, you know, when we talk about being focused and organized, you know, before Frontapp, my life, I had to go here for this, I had to go here for that, I had to go there for that, I had to go for that, and there just wasn't enough time. Now it's all in one place. It's really awesome on my phone. It's really awesome on my computer. And, you know, I really don't even really know what it is, but like, so Blake, tell me, what is Frontapp? I mean, what I know it's cool, but what is it?
Sure, absolutely. So I like to think of Front as a shared inbox for teams. And frankly, the future of email. When you think about traditional email, we think about Outlook and Gmail, right? These are the two tools that pretty much everyone uses, maybe Apple Mail. The thing about those platforms or clients is that they were designed when email was created 10 or 15 years ago. You know, sending an email was a pretty novel thing. You'd message a pen pal across the country and you're like, whoa, I've got this digital message. It was pretty cool. As the world has evolved and businesses evolved, email is the #1 form of business communication today. There are billions, hundreds of billions of emails floating around the world any given day. And the issue is that every single business is using these clients that were designed for one person to use in a group setting. So things like forwards, BCCs, reply alls, they become a big giant mess for larger teams. Front abstracts that with some great features and functionalities, which basically creates from a ground level a platform that everyone can be on together to stay on the same page. So there's great visibility into what teams are doing, accountability, hey, you do that, I'm going to assign this to you. So that's kind of where it starts for email. And then we've brought in all the other channels of communication which businesses use, right? Facebook Messenger, Twitter, SMS text messaging, live chat on your website, you know, WhatsApp. All of it can flood into Front, you know, this universal inbox, like that's the logo. And businesses are just taking to it like wildfire. We have over 5,000 businesses today. Every department you can imagine at a business is using Front, from a busy executive and his assistant sharing emails to support teams, HR teams, sales teams, operations teams, even solopreneurs. I think, Rael, I don't know if you have any teammates on your account, maybe it's just you, but even for one person to aggregate all of your email addresses in one nice platform, Front's a great tool.
No, it really is, like, and I'm a solopreneur, but I'm really quickly exploding. You know, I'm really blessed. I already have a team. I got a team in the UK. I got a team, I think it's Wisconsin. But, you know, even starting inside of my own house, my team with my wife and my kids and stuff like that, it's truly amazing. And like you mentioned, the different platforms, you know, as I just launched my website, you know, very, very powerful we want to have that immediate connection. And what I really loved about excuse me, Blake, but what was called the function that I have in the bottom of my website when people can come and chat with me?
Yeah, it's called Front Chat. It's a product that's native to our platform. Yeah.
Okay, so Front Chat. I love that because when people come there, I immediately get notified and I can have this conversation real time with the champions that need that service. And we know that's really important. You know, that's one of the things I love. It's such and I've used other things. You know, there's a lot of other things out there, but they're not like this, man, because I love that real time, that instant connection.
I'm glad you love it. I know more people will too. And, you know, we've been around for around 4 years. I was one of the really early employees here at Front. And I think we're just scraping the surface. I think Front will be a household name. And like I said, the future of email.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now let's go there because people always want to know, especially, my main thing is entrepreneurs. That's who I help. I help entrepreneurs to be able to share their story and brand through video marketing. So we all want to know. So let's talk about that. You've been around 4 years. How did it start? Was it in a garage? Share that story with us. Did you just wake up one day and go, oh, and come up with the idea? How did you guys come up with the concept? And take us on a little bit of the journey from the beginning, the struggles, it's that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Front was founded 5 years ago is when the journey officially started. Our CEO, Mathilde Collin, she's 29 years old, first-time female founder. She was working at this company in Paris, and she noticed that people were really unhappy about their jobs. They didn't really enjoy it. So she wanted to create her own company where people enjoyed working together. And she also noticed that working in email in a group environment, frankly, sucked. She sought out to start a company that could reinvent email. Slack was just kind of getting started and really hot, the chat tool, but you still need email in that sort of world. So she met our co-founder Laurent in Paris. They joined a small incubator accelerator there that kind of got the idea off the ground. They moved over to Silicon Valley here. I'm in San Francisco. Went through Y Combinator, which is a pretty prestigious accelerator. A lot of big companies, big tech companies came out of that. And I actually got connected to Front through a recruiter. So I was looking for my next gig, kind of frustrated at my current job. And I was like, hey, I want to be first or second salesperson at a hot company with a lot of promise. I want to see what I can do on my own. I want to build a team. I want to choose what softwares we want to use. I want to define the company culture, the strategic, vision on how we sell it. I want to be there, ground floor. So my recruiter told me about Front, and frankly, he did a really bad job of explaining what we are and what we do. It's a tough thing, really. We're a category defining software. So it's not really email, it's not really Slack, it's kind of something combined there. And because he couldn't really explain it, that intrigued me, right? It's not like anything else. It's something new and something different. So I got really excited. I was like, you know what? I don't really get it, but I want to meet him. I want to meet Mathilde. I want to see the product. I want to learn more about it. And once I met Mathilde, our CEO, I could tell that she was special and she had what it takes to take a company far. And then I saw the product and I was just like, wow, I got to get involved. I mean, I had some offers from other companies, but when I saw the team, there was a couple designers, a couple engineers, and a CEO, CTO. I was like, this is a company that I want to be part of. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to work my butt off and see where we go. And 4 years later, we've got, I think, about 120 employees now, 5,000 customers. We've raised a good amount of funding from some big time VCs in Silicon Valley. So it's just a dream. It's awesome.
Wow, that is awesome. We love to hear those stories when you go. Now, were there some challenges along the way that when you guys thought, oh man, this isn't really going to work? Did you have any of those challenges, those struggles, and how did you get through them?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, early stages, right? Trying to define who you are and how you're going to go about things. There was a time when we decided, hey, we're going to launch a free subscription. So there's going to be a kind of a smaller tiered package that people can use for free. And to be frank, it kind of killed our revenue. We were growing 20% month over month, and we're like, hey, we're going to launch this free plan. And then boom, everyone was jumping on their free plan, which is what happened. So, that was a rocky start for sure. And then, we've had times when, we've had to let go of big time sales leaders, someone who was at the company for a few years and helped define the culture. And, things change. And when you lose a big personality or a big leader at a company, it's a step back for the company a little bit, but it's always, one step back, two steps forward. So overall though, I gotta be honest, it's been pretty smooth sailing, skipping through daisies, rainbows, great funding. The sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you. So congratulations to your CEO, because that's really where it starts, right? With that big visionary, right? Yeah. And they're going to walk in it and they're going to stay with you and they have that vision. And, it sounds like you definitely connected with the right person. So when we think about that, Blake, I have a question for you personally. Mm-hmm. So at your point in your life right now, do you consider yourself to be successful?
I guess you could say that. I don't struggle to make ends meet. I'm in a happy romantic relationship, loving family. I got a challenging job at a promising tech company and live in one of the best cities in the world. So I mean, I don't have a lot to complain about. It's weird when you're living in this kind of fleshy human body and you're kind of just on your day to day, you're looking at your calendar, reading your text. You don't really think about questions like that, like, am I successful? That's the beauty of interviews and situations like this. It's like a nice forcing function to make you like take a step back. So, I mean, yeah, I would say I'm successful.
That's awesome, man. Now, what would you say? I think you kind of just talked about one right now, like, but you said you're 29, right?
Yep, just turned 29 last month.
So in your short journey, young guy, because I'm 56, you could be my son. What would you say if you were to pick two major defining decisions in your life? Like I've always said that we wake up and we go on a path. And then there comes a point, I say there's 2 or 3 of them in our life, maybe more, but for sure 2 or 3. And then it's like, do I go right? Do I go left?
Yeah.
Do I keep going? So what would you say your 2 defining decisions in your life at this point would be?
That's a good question. I'd say the first one probably happened in college. To be honest with you, Riel, I was never really a big fan of school, never really got good grades. And it was frustrating for me because, a lot of times growing up, you spend a lot of your time in school. And I have some friends that are still in school. They're still studying to do something. And, school's great, but it's also not for everyone. And it's not a great measure of whether someone's going to be successful in life or whether or not they're smart. That was frustrating for me for a long, long time because I didn't get great grades. And, the measure of whether you're smart or successful really came down to, what's your GPA? In college is when I always loved to work. I always had jobs from, raking leaves, babysitting, doing my own lemonade stands. I was that kid, you know what I mean? And in college, I had a couple jobs. I was working at Starbucks. I worked at Pottery Barn. But I always had this hobby of playing poker. And after a little bit of, casually getting back into it in college, I realized, I could make in a good night playing poker what I would make in a few weeks working at Starbucks. So I decided actually in college that I was going to take it seriously. I was going to quit my job and I was going to play poker semi-professionally. My parents were still, I was blessed that they paid for my college education. But on the side and for work, I decided to dedicate myself to playing poker. So you could say I was a semi-professional poker player for a couple years and was pretty successful at it. It was a great way and a good outlet for me to, apply myself, apply strategies, test myself, and it was lucrative, to be honest. And that was a moment for me when I felt like I was succeeding and I made a great decision and that I was standing out. And that was probably the first one for me. The second one, to be honest, it's got to be choosing Front. My first couple jobs out of college weren't super successful. They were at bigger companies, slower moving, kind of traditional industries. One was a financial services, financial money management company, and the other one was a Xerox company, so printers and copiers and like that. But joining Front was a great way for me to kind of test myself and with no limits, no rules, no ceilings, see how far I could go. And, it's just been awesome.
That's awesome. Now so I like to say this, we all know our why, right? We've heard about our why. Our why is what drives us,
Yep.
And I like to look at it in a little different way. So our why, our initial why, what pushes us? We got to pay our bills. We got to provide for our family. But what pulls Blake? What is like, what gets you up when you don't want to get up? What continues to push you to grind to make that have you ever thought of it in that sense? Is it providing for your family so you can grow old together, or maybe for your kids putting them through college? Do you have charities you're passionate about? What pulls Blake when you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I'd say there's a couple things. One, just going back to the last question and my last response, growing up, I didn't get good grades. And, I was the bottom 5% of the class or of the graduating class. And that was frustrating for me. And so part of it is kind of just a little chip on my shoulder, like, hey, I didn't do so great at school, and I got kicked a lot, early on, but now's my time. Now we're in the real world. We're professionals. I'm going to kick butt now. And I'm going to prove to people who back then, didn't think, Blake was very smart or, wasn't going to do much. There's a little bit of that for sure. The second piece I'd say is to make my family and my father proud, to be perfectly honest. My dad, successful guy, independently wealthy, started his own business, owns his own real estate company. And, we grew up upper middle class, and it did not make me lazy, and I didn't take any of it for granted at all. In fact, it motivated me to try and push myself and do better than he did. And it still kind of does. And whenever I have big moments, I'm sure to share it with him and say, hey, I'm doing it. I'm making him proud.
That's awesome. Now, are you only a child? Are you an only child, Blake?
Oldest of three boys.
Oldest of three boys. Awesome. So, and it's like, I can totally relate with you, because I actually am an only child. I graduated from a class of 1,200. I was the only African American. So you can imagine what that was like growing up in the 80s, and, bullying and picking on and all of that. But I had a lot of people, oh, you'll never do this, you can't do that. And it's like, for me, just like you, that like fueled the warrior in me. It's like, and now, now it's like, tell me I can't. Yeah. Tell me, go ahead, challenge me. I love it, right? So I totally relate to that. I want to change gears for a second. I want to go back to Frontapp, and I want to talk, because when I'm thinking of it, and for me, it's like, the Frontapp for me is like, before Frontapp, I had like 5 Volkswagens, maybe. I had a Volkswagen for my social media, I had a Volkswagen for my texting, I had a Volkswagen, for my emails, I had a Volkswagen for my chat on my Facebook and or my website, and that. Now it's like I got one
Tesla.
Do you know what? Tesla. Did you say Tesla? That's what I was getting. Yeah, that's exactly what I got. One Tesla, dude.
Yeah.
It's right there, man, and I could just drive it. And so, I mean, it's just like, I just love that. Like, for example, let me tell you some pros and cons, not pros and cons, before and afters. Let's call them before and afters of Frontapp for me. Before, email was a disaster for me. If you emailed me, the chances that I would actually get to you were probably slim and none. Now, I remember when which, by the way, customer service, you guys are like 10-star, which is rare, by the way. It's so like, right? It's so amazing. I love that. So high five to you guys for that. It's so like, I just hate when I cannot actually talk to a real person anymore, especially for me, and you guys are beyond amazing with that. But I remember, tell me if I'm wrong, because I pay attention. I'm an actor, right? So I pay attention. I remember when we did a Zoom and you were helping me out. I remember when you looked through my inbox, I think I had like 1,700 emails in there, and I think you had a cardiac arrest or something. You'll be happy to know I keep it like under like 50 or 60 right now because of the app, right?
I love hearing that. And I love your analogy of, I had this like beat up Volkswagen and now I've got a Tesla. I use this similar analogy when describing it, because a lot of people, when I tell them what Front is and what we're doing, they'll be like, well, I've got email. Email's not broken. I got Outlook. I got Gmail. But it's similar to like when the iPhone or smartphone came out, right? Everyone had a phone. You had a mobile phone, right? But you remember when you got an iPhone. That's a game changer. It's tough to really describe why and how, but you know that if you had an iPhone, you were just going to be so much more productive, so much more in tune with everything going on around you, connected to the internet. It's just another level. Better camera. That's what Frontapp is for email. It's better in every single way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's the thing. You probably know this. I don't know. Here's what I do know. So that was a before. After is like, I'm actually current, man. People, they can email me. I see it. I come up. I respond to them. I keep it clean. I'm cleaning all that out. The other thing for me, like before with my texting, Okay, now I have to go over to that Volkswagen, but now it's all in my Tesla. So when people text me, I can actually, because I text a lot of people, right? You know, and we have that platform that we work, and you work well with that platform. So those texts is coming right from me. My social media thing, so which is really important. You know, I run a video course, and I'm teaching people how to get their videos out there, and I want to support them. But I'm not like stock. I don't have time to stock Facebook, you know, all that stuff. But because I get a notification from you, I can immediately go on there and be there and support them. You know, that's before and after there. You know, having that instant interaction on my website is huge for me, because I want to be like that 10-star customer service like you guys are. You know, I don't want to be the robot, and you know, that's the hardest thing for me. I want to be the guy answering and responding to my champions. So I really, and here's the thing I'm noticing too, tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the technical guy.
Sure.
Prior to Frontapp, I would send emails, people wouldn't get them. People get all my emails now when I send them with Frontapp. You know, it's like, I don't know what's going on there or stuff like that, but I'm not getting any people saying, and I don't know, man. I just love the functionality about it. I love how I can set up the rules. I love how I can put the colors on the tags. I love how I can do all that stuff. And then when you got the team going on there, as I'm building my team, like you guys have 180, I got 3 right now. But even with that, I like how I can assign different things to my different team members, and you know, it's important, right? I can see if they're doing their stuff or not, right?
100%. Versus if you traditionally you get an email, someone on your team needs to handle it, you'd forward it to them, right? You would never know if they followed up on that email unless they CC'd you back into the chain. You wouldn't. Within Front, you can actively or passively follow that conversation, watch how they do, and when it's no longer interesting, you just unsubscribe from it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, switching gears a little bit. Okay, having fun. So fill in the blanks, right? So I'll say a word, and then you tell me the first thought that comes up after it. So I am
good enough.
Awesome. Okay. Life is.
Life's an adventure. Enjoy it and don't take it too seriously.
Love it. So who is your favorite superhero? As we're sitting here looking like superheroes. I love it. We are the Frontapp superhero. Okay, so who is your favorite?
Oh man, that's such a tough question. You're making me pick one?
Okay, you can pick more than one.
Okay. I mean, I think Iron Man is pretty cool. Batman's pretty cool. You know, I was a poker player, so I like Gambit, the X-Men.
Yeah.
But I'd probably say Spider-Man. I'm definitely more of a Peter Parker, more of the nerd, skinny guy. And if I was ever to be a superhero, it probably would take some crazy spider to bite me for me to become a superhero. Yeah.
I could totally see you being Peter Parker now. So let's have some fun. So let's say you were a superhero. What would your superpower be and why? You can tell I'm a little kid. No. Superheroes are cool.
Does the power to make people laugh count as a superpower? I think comedians are kind of superheroes. I think they make people smile. They make people laugh. Being able to kind of do that almost on command, I think that's a powerful thing.
You know what, Blake? I gotta say, I ask that question all the time. I think that's one of the best answers I've ever had. I actually just got goosies, as J-Lo would say, because you know what? If the world would laugh more, we would be a better place. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. I really love that one, man. I really do love that one. So that's a great answer. So listen, I want to just and we're gonna get a little deep because people like to get to know you. So
for sure.
What is there, something that, people don't know about you? Maybe something you've never shared.
Something people don't know about me.
Now know your wife's gonna probably watch this. And all your workmates.
My girlfriend right now.
Oh, your girlfriend. Okay, so.
It's okay. Here's something that almost nobody knows. I was actually fired from my first job out of college, pretty fantastically. And that was a big gut check. I'll keep the story brief, I guess. I started at this financial services company, and the job was to basically set meetings with really rich people to talk to our VPs about having their money managed by the company. I talked to this guy on the phone, and he had a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. And he was interested in what we had to offer, but he said, hey, send me an email, follow up. We were pretty much advised, don't send emails, not really worth it. But I figured this guy's got a lot of money. It would be a big deal for me. I'm gonna write him an email. I'm gonna basically summarize everything I said on the call and send him an email. So I sent him that email, and the next day, my boss called me over, took me upstairs, met with HR. We're firing you, letting you go. It was crazy. It was surreal. I couldn't even believe it. I was floored. I caught my breath, and I was so unhappy that I demanded to speak to the CEO. I was a young fiery guy, and the CEO, he's worth a couple $2 billion. And on the way to trying to meet with or get a call with, I actually drove to headquarters. It was about 45 minutes from where I was in Woodside, California. A few people, I got in the gate and everything, and I think one of the big VPs, he spotted me and was like, hey, let's go talk outside. Ultimately, I left my card. They're like, hey, he's not here, but we'll give him your message and let you know. And I left thinking, no way I'll ever hear back. But he actually called me. In fact, he called me twice. The first time was a pretty stern conversation telling me, hey man, you screwed up. You shouldn't have done that. Sticking with this guy. They decided as a company to let me go. He's not going to reverse that decision. But he called me back about 30 minutes later to really give me some guidance. And, it was just super cool. The guy's worth, like I said, $2 billion, I think, at this point. And he told me that I should start my own company, and that I reminded him a lot of himself. And, I didn't necessarily start my own company with Front, but I joined pretty early on, and it helped fuel kind of the entrepreneur inside me.
That's awesome, man. That was a good thing that he did for you right there. Just, I like that, man. I can feel that right here. So let's flip. What's about one of your greatest memories? The greatest memory that you can think of right now?
The greatest memory?
Yeah. See, I ask weird questions. I'm an actor, dude, so I like to ask these kind of questions.
Yeah, well. Oh man, we're gonna get real deep here. Last year, my father was in a terrible car accident. He almost died, and he's now a C5 spinal cord injury guy. He's in a wheelchair for life. Will never walk again. I remember the night that I found out that he was in that accident, like to a T. I remember exactly where it was. I remember the hours afterwards, and we didn't know if he was going to make it. We didn't know if he was going to live, but I remember at the time finding out that he was in an accident. My brother called me, and my brother, he doesn't give me a call, right? He texts me or he messaged me on Instagram. He called me, and you could tell he was really shooken up, and he's like, I don't have a lot of information. You need to come to Sacramento now. And I remember just praying, I need to see my dad again. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, tell him how much I loved him, any of that. So I'd say the greatest memory that I have was, the day after, his surgery and everything, and knowing that he was going to live and I was going to still have my dad around. And that was probably one of the greatest things ever, that I would still have him.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that with me, man. And you know what, I tell you what, I know your dad's really proud of you, man. You really done a great job. I know my dad, he got Parkinson's and he's gone on to be with the Lord, but I know that's challenging, that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You got me off guard there. So listen, a couple things, before we wrap it up. So what do you want people to know? Why? So if they're looking at Frontapp as a solution for their email and bringing all their business tools together. So why you and not somebody else? Why?
The cheeky answer to that is that there is nobody else. There's no one else out there in the world doing what Front is doing right now. At the core of it, we're really trying to be the future of email and the future of communication. Front is, in my opinion, going to be the messaging platform that every business should be on and should live inside of. There's obviously going to be your customer database, which you can pull in and integrate. You're going to have your project management tools and your calendar, but most knowledge workers behind a computer, they're living in their email inbox. Front is the future of that, and it is a special product that people spend 4 to 6 hours a day in. So my answer to them is, there's nothing else out there like it, and I want everyone to hop on the train as early as possible, because this is where the world is going. This is where email is going, and join the party.
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you. I've been around. I try a lot of stuff. I've checked out a lot of stuff, and when it was coming, you just came into my life at the right time, because I wanted my website to be the biggest, baddest, most, on the cutting edge. And now, because of you guys in my business now, I just launched 2 membership sites, and it's been amazing for me. And you actually just said, for me anyways, because from day one I've been trying to, you are the ultimate communication platform hub. It's all together in one. So I don't know, that's what Frontapp is for me now. It's just, and we forgot, yes, because you can put the calendar too. The calendar's in there.
You got everything right there.
Everything is right there, and the biggest, baddest Tesla. So what I'm going to do, Blake, is I'm going to put a link in the podcast. I'm going to put it in the blog. I'm going to put it on my website where people can get the Frontapp and solution and ride the Tesla, right? What do they say?
Yep.
Blast off in that, right? And take your business to the next level. I promise you. If you're an entrepreneur, any kind of business person, soulpreneur or whatever, this is a must tool. So now, I'm going to put you on the spot, Blake. So if I send people to my link, do you want to give them any kind of special incentive or anything?
Sure, let's do it. Yeah. So if you use that link, you get a 7-day free trial. That's standard for everyone. And because you're listening, if you enter the code Real Andrews, no spaces, I'll make it after here. You get 30% off of any Front plan for a year.
What? Woo! Boom! You heard it right there first. So anyways, Blake, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I want to thank you and your CEO for, answering your calling and creating this amazing tool. It truly has been a godsend for me, and I know it's a godsend for a lot of people. And if you don't know, you definitely want to check it out. So once again, it's Coach Rail here with just keeping it real with Rail. I got my buddy Blake Kraft with Frontapp. We appreciate you. Take care. I'll believe in you. You believe in yourself. Make the rest of the day the best of the day. God bless. Boom.